Okay, so I wanted to talk about sensitivity, emotion, and intuition again. And that's something I've kind of talked about in a couple different ways on my channel, but I thought of more stuff to say. Just, I think a lot of personal experience goes into this. So, first off, let's introduce, think about good emotions you felt or bad emotions that you felt. And whether that feeling of emotion, how would you describe what comes first in terms of, do you think that the feeling of emotion comes first, or the thoughts that you have, like the actual words that go with however you're feeling? I think a lot of people are either way. Surprisingly, it's not, it doesn't all work the same for everyone. Or not surprisingly, But I think as an intuitive person, as a sensitive person, I can say that a lot of the times I feel things before I even have words to describe whatever I'm feeling. The emotion comes first for me, for sure. And I guess that's one reason why whenever, say I feel, this is for good and bad emotion, but say I feel bad emotion and someone tells me, just don't think about this, or just don't look at this, they try to think what triggered that thought that you had that started making you feel bad. And a lot of the times for me, it's not a thought that triggered me feeling bad. It's just emotion that was already there, emotion that was, from my core. It's how I feel. uh it's already expressing itself, and it's not from any external it's not from any sort of external stimulus. And I guess, yeah, now that I say that, that sounds very common for the things that I've said on my channel. I always say, I try to talk about the internal aspects, yeah, meditation, spirituality, whatever. So yeah, so once again, I'm saying that it's not the external factor, but it's internally how I feel. And I think if you think you're an intuitive person, or you go by quote unquote your feelings, and this is the thing with whenever I say feelings too, if I tell someone, like if someone asks me, oh, why did you do this, or how did you know, and like I just tell them, oh, I just felt it, or I felt this way and I did it, or I just kind of knew, then like a lot of people just think that, like I basically like flipped a coin, like I didn't put any that much effort into it, or I didn't put that much reason into it. Well, in a way, I didn't put that much reason into it, because it's a different form of intelligence. But the effort thing, yeah, they think, because I said I felt this way, so I did it. I want to do things based on how I feel. Well, that sounds like I'm going to be lazy, or I'm going to be compulsive, or something like that. And it doesn't have to be like that. Of course, I feel those compulsions, but like I've mentioned before, staying grounded and not reacting to every little feeling that you have, that's important. But the feeling I'm trying to describe right now is more of an overall feeling, considering all the feelings that you've gathered, considering all the data that you've gathered. And that's the thing. That's why I think intuitive people, or yeah, we can say intuitive people, I think a lot of the times they have a hard time explaining to someone else why they felt or acted the way that they did. I feel like sometimes a lot of people are confused by the way I might think or do things. And then if they ask, it's hard for me to explain in words or with logic. Sometimes I just do it that way, just because I feel, just because I think, not think, but I feel that's the best way. I know that as the best way by experience. And well, I guess, if you're listening, then I guess it's not that useful to you, because obviously I'm not giving any sort of thoughts that you can try to relate to. But yeah, once again, I'm trying to describe the significance of this sort of capturing things by experience and perception, and intuition compared to thinking things through, thinking everything through, having thoughts for everything, using logic for everything, using rules for everything. And it's not like I decided to be this way. I feel like only after just looking at information, after that I realized, oh, like this is how I do things. Like I don't think a lot of that sounds bad to say. I don't think a lot of things through, but I use my intuition a lot more than I use my logic. Not to say that logic doesn't also have its place. Of course it has its use and its utility, and it's very necessary as well. But I think some people try to use their logic and intellect for everything. You try to reason out everything. You try to dissect everything. And there's other forms of intelligence that you can use. It's so hard to talk about because I don't have any more words than that. You know, if I'm describing something intellectual or academic, of course, oh, my car engine. Of course I can, you know, like imagine school. Whenever they introduce a topic in school, they have 5 subdivisions of that topic. And then each subdivision has 5 different subdivisions. And then you just go through systematically each of those points. I don't have any sort of system like that or any sort of ideology. All I can do is encourage you to try to exercise your own intuition and experience for yourself. Yeah, for me, I mean, I can tell you it's really simple, but I can tell you what I'm trying to describe is like whenever I'm being intuitive or feeling things, I literally just sit there. I don't think about anything, and I just almost like I'm frozen, and I just sit there and just perceive, and I just try to, I feel like I almost try to engulf whatever I'm trying to understand inside of me. I think that's really a good way. See, this is not logical. This is not reasoning or anything. Obviously, this is symbolic. I'm trying to describe to you my experience with metaphor, you know. It's not any sort of literal thing. But yeah, you know, how like in my Heartbreak and Love video, how I said 2 people becoming one. A long-term relationship is like 2 people becoming one. Obviously, you know, you're not Siamese twins, so symbolic. And yeah, I do see the world. I do. Yeah, you can probably tell I see the world in that way. I like those symbols and metaphors. I feel like it's just very easy for me to understand whenever things are represented by something else. Anyway. What was I saying? What was the metaphor I actually fucking said? You know what I mean? Yeah, so I sit there and I feel like I'm trying to engulf whatever I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to take in all the data that I need to process and to understand or to solve whatever problem I'm trying to solve. I'm just trying to gather as much experience as I can. Like I'm sitting there frozen, like just trying to perceive. I think that's a good way to describe it. I'm thinking, not thinking, but I know like I'm trying to perceive, pay attention to everything. Just pay attention. No thoughts, no words going on in my head. Just paying attention. And the thing is too, the benefit with that is, well, if you're not creating your own shit in your head, your own thoughts, your own words in your head, you're actually able to pay more attention to what's there, what's literally there by itself, untouched by you or anyone else. And that's what enhances your perception. And that's something that I've talked about a lot. You know, I've talked about perception a lot and enhancing your perception, and how meditation enhances your perception by making you more mindful and self-aware. And therefore, you're able to take yourself out of the equation and see whatever's in front of you just for what it is. See, that's another, I say there's so many aspects to meditation and how it improves you. And that's another thing. Yeah, so if you have your own thoughts about it, if you start reasoning things out, if you use your own logic, then you're focusing on that, or you're half focusing on that and only half focusing or not focusing at all on what's in front of you. And that hinders your perception that much more. And it takes away from this dimension of intelligence that I'm talking about. But the main topic of this video, the main thing that I kind of wanted to say was, Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely someone, I feel the emotion first. I feel it in my body. Like I mentioned in the Heartbreak and Love video, it's literally a physical, heartfelt feeling. You can feel it physically, like the twinges, the pain signals, any sort of way you want to describe it. And if you feel hurt, I think I've literally even felt like, okay, so I'm talking a lot about negative emotion. So I'll talk a little bit about negative emotion first. Yeah, end on a good note. But so I've literally, whenever I feel bad emotion, whenever I feel pretty bad, if I have to cry even, if it's something that it's not like a new problem, or even if it is a new problem, I think a lot of the times, even if I'm in that moment, I know, even if I'm not thinking of anything, like if tears are rolling down my face, even if I'm not thinking of anything, I still feel terrible. And I know I don't have any reason why at this very exact moment, but I feel the abyss inside of me, the darkness inside of me, the hurt, the pain, however you want to describe your bad emotions. I can feel that inside of me regardless of whatever I'm thinking. And of course that happens with good emotions too. I feel a rush. I feel very light inside. That's a big, that's why they say cloud nine or whatever. You're on cloud nine whenever you feel really good. I feel light inside. I feel lifted up, energized, and it can be just at any random time in the day or for any sort of reason that the emotion comes, and it's not for a specific thought. And so that's why I know, like, as a kid too, I didn't think of it like this. But back then, I remember, like, I would just feel this way or that way, and people would ask me, like, what's the reason or why? And then I would just say, like, oh, I'm just happy for no reason or whatever. Or some little thing, some little everyday thing, and they wouldn't understand it. I guess in my experience, a lot of people, they have specific thoughts or reasons why they're happy or why they're sad. And I think, of course, I have that too. Of course, I have my reasons, and it's important I think that's also an element of understanding. If you have some sort of logic and reasoning behind it. But yeah, I just wanted to describe this other dimension. Let me think for a second. But I'm close to the end. Okay, I thought of a big thing I was going to say, like some really good examples in my opinion. This whole channel is my fucking opinion. I don't even need to say that. But yeah, so whenever people say, like, oh, don't listen to these songs or don't look at these pictures, don't do these things that give you those negative emotions or bring up those negative emotions, or don't talk about these certain things. Well, like, whenever I have those negative emotions, of course, like, those things are going to hurt. But I very soon also felt, even after I processed those negative emotions, whatever I needed to do, I expressed it, or it just passed. Emotions just pass sometimes. Then that same thing that is there, that same exact thing, in a short duration, a short time span, shortly after, I can just look at it and the emotion's gone. It's just flat. That's how I would describe it. Flat, blank. It's nothing. It's not like I'm happy about it or something, but it's gone. And that's why that really makes me feel, I think this is why this shows why I think so internally, or why I'm so internally oriented, or self-aware, or whatever. Even though all of you, like, it doesn't matter whether you think, there is no internal and external people. There's just people. Both elements are there for everyone. It's just how aware are you of each, Anyway. Yeah, so you can look at that, that thing, whatever it was that gave you the emotion, and it's no longer there. It's gone. And that's why I would be so confused whenever people would give specific instructions on like to avoid these certain things, because oftentimes I've found that sometimes, like, I feel like you want to confront those things, because if you don't confront those things that you're holding emotion onto, then it's there, it's still there internally inside of you, and it never gets expressed. Not it it doesn't just go away. And if you confront those things, those objects or places or songs or whatever, then you can feel the emotion and let it pass. And then once again, it becomes just a song, or it becomes just a place, or it becomes just a thing. For you, that external factor loses its emotional sting or emotional value. Not value, I wouldn't say value. Because even though you felt the emotions, you're never going to forget it. If it's a significant emotion, you won't forget it, even when you see it. But you'll be able to keep it aside because that emotion isn't fresh anymore. Like I said, the sting, the imprint, perhaps you could say, isn't there. But the memory's still there. The memory's still there. And you should never forget it, because that memory and experience is very valuable, of course. Shit, I was going to say something else. I was going to say something pretty good. Let me think about it. Hold on. Okay, I did think about what I was going to say, but let me transition first. So what I'm saying is, once you're not entangled with those emotions anymore, it's not like you forgot about however you felt, or whatever, is the problem with that specific external factor. You still acknowledge it, and you still know it's there, but you're okay with it. You're okay with it. You can set it aside. It's not something you're entangled with. So yeah, there's that. And I think, let me say this too before I say the thing that I remembered. So I'm making that distinction of this. It's a binary thing. So the first thing I described, and then this second thing is people thinking about something and then having an emotional feeling after that. Like, they had they saw something, they had a certain thought about it, they had a few thoughts, a few sentences they said in their head, and then they felt bad. They felt the bad emotions about those sentences. And then whenever you look at it like that, if you think that's what's happening to you, then it seems like it's a lot more in your control, your conscious control. And that, I guess that's why people instruct you to do those things. And of course, this isn't, everyone is one way or the other. I feel both ways. Both things have happened to me, where I just need to process the emotion, or it's important, of course. Like, I'm not saying ruminate on things. Like, you should not be trying to like keep the emotion there or something and just stick with it, and just stay in that place that you have a lot of emotional attachment to, or that thing or song or whatever. Don't ruminate, because that's just bad for you mentally. Maybe not even emotionally, it might not be bad, but it'll be bad for you mentally. You might go kind of crazy or something. But there is like almost like a task to be done, I feel. Whenever you have emotions attached to something, it's important for you to find expression in that, and to not avoid it. That's really the point. So this way of thinking and feeling, this order of emotions and thoughts, I guess is something that I predominantly experience. And so that's why my point with that, like, I've been saying this video is, that's why I don't relate to a lot of the things that people say whenever they talk about their own thoughts and emotions and how they deal with them. And so the example, what I remembered was, for the longest time, I think this might be because of other reasons too, but I didn't understand why people had so much emotional attachment to certain things that they have. I'm talking about literal physical objects. Maybe it's clothing items, or this old thing from a past relative. And this is the thing, I'm not judging you. You know, I respect that. You know, I understand that it means a lot because of the history. That makes sense to me. But I'm just saying that it's personally something that I don't experience or feel. I might have temporary attachment to an object, temporary sentimentalness or feelings, but then it just passes and I just see the object as the object. It loses its emotional entanglement to me personally, its emotional sting, its emotional imprint. Yeah, the three things I used to describe. Yeah, it becomes just an object. And you know, like, I'm a pretty nostalgic person. I look back, I can feel things from a while ago. I remember the emotions, but in terms of the specific attachment to whatever it was before, whatever that may have, you know, been, I would have been very sensitive to before. The external thing I would have been very sensitive to before. That's past now. And that, I think, also goes with how I'm like kind of a minimalist. I don't like keeping extra stuff around. I like moving on from those things. It just feels like almost like baggage. Like I said, the rumination can be bad. It can make you feel stuck. And so I don't want to feel stuck. That's one of the most, it's like almost like a suffocating feeling. If you feel stuck in life, if you feel that you're stuck somewhere and you can't do anything to get out, like you're in quicksand or something, you're suffocating. That's terrible. And that can manifest itself in a panic attack even. That can manifest itself in not being able to breathe very well. You literally feel like, you know, you're suffocating. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully those are some interesting ideas to you. Okay, so I do want to add this one more way of describing it. I think confronting things and being direct, and that's something I mentioned in many different ways on my channel. Confronting things and being direct, that's important in the long term, not carrying any emotional baggage or mental baggage. And a lot of the people that think, you know, oh, I'm done with this, you know, they just throw it out the window and they don't acknowledge the truth. They're not straight with themselves. If there's one person you got to be straight with in life, you got to be straight with yourself. I know any other person in life, of course, you know, you can't be 100% transparent, but you have to be 100% fucking transparent with yourself at least. And you got to acknowledge, you got to be honest with how much something means to you. Because if you don't, I said it in Heartbreak and Love, if you repress it, if you don't acknowledge it, you're throwing eggs, you're letting eggs rot in the fridge. Damn, I really just came up, that's not a very good analogy. It's not exceptional or something, but you're letting your eggs rot in the fridge. Just throw out the fucking eggs now. Throw the eggs, confront the eggs, look at them straight at their white shells, and throw them out, because they're just gonna rot in the fridge and get worse if you don't. And you're gonna make a lot of fucking mistakes while your eggs are in the fridge too. If you took the eggs out, I'm really going far with this analogy. Because taking the eggs out of the fridge gives you some experience and wisdom. It fucking makes you more intelligent, you know? So you're gonna make you're gonna make the same mistakes, and you're gonna put more eggs in your fridge that that you wouldn't have had to if you had taken out the first batch of eggs. So take care of your shit, you know, be patient with yourself, take things step by step. Take out your eggs and learn from it. It's better to do things, confront things right away, be direct, and better sooner than later, rather than for it to become a long-term problem. Yeah, that's it. Okay, look at this. This is kind of cool. Now I'm here. But let me turn the camera around and say one more thing. Yeah, I'm enjoying a walk now. But yeah, you know, I'm not saying that's an absolute. Of course, like I said, don't ruminate on things. Don't make yourself feel bad for no reason. by just going to things that make you, that make you feel bad. And you've already kind of confronted the emotion, but they still like make you feel bad. Don't just go back over and over and make yourself feel bad for no reason, because that's dumb. So in that way, yeah, I know there are situations, and of course, for myself too, it's not like I just it's not like I try and go get myself hurt. Like where do I feel the most emotion, and I just go there, even though I do that like initially, and most often I do that because I know that's it's significant. It's significant to feel emotions, and that's part of being human. But I still do also avoid things. I avoid things that hurt in the right situations, but not because I don't want to confront it, or because I'm scared, or because I don't want to deal with it now, or just some stupid reason. Just because I won't confront it, just because it's still more beneficial long term to not confront it over and over and just make myself feel bad for no reason. So yeah, there's also that aspect as well. Okay, well, now I just realized that you might be watching and thinking, well, what's the point of this fucking video if you're just not gonna give a clear point? And I'm just gonna say two contradictory things. Well, I think first of all, the first side is something that not a lot of people focus on, and I know for me that's more prevalent, and that's one way that I felt different and my personal experience. But in life, like I said, things aren't binary. There's multiple things going on, and that's a simple way of viewing life. So it's important to understand all the different ways that things can play together, and you don't have to understand, you don't have to sum it down to one conclusion. You can just perceive all aspects and just leave it at that. And I think that's something a lot of people don't do. They try to analyze. That's a style of intellectualism. You try to sum it down to one thing, try to reduce it down, dissect it. But yeah, that's not what I'm saying. And well, if you consider all this, what does that, I can give you a really good point now. Otherwise, I wouldn't have added this clip at the end. So if you do consider those things, even at the end of this video, well, that just means you need to be more self-aware, and you need to just see how much of the first thing that I described plays a role with you, and how much of, the pretty common thing, I guess, plays a role in you. Because, yeah, just understand that both are playing a role, and just be self-aware and understand how much specifically it is for you. So yeah, again, practically, experientially, figure out how it applies to yourself. And yeah, then there's utility in this video. So yeah, fuck you. But yeah, that's it for now, at least. I thought of another thing. Just like my old videos, multiple segments, multiple thoughts as they come. But yeah, this is one thing I wanted to add as well. Whenever I said that after you feel the emotion, then those external factors become flat. Well, if you're an expert in maintaining your internal aspects, meditation, or just life in general, if you take care of your well-being, and you become joyful by your own nature, then those things that were flat and originally that they hurt you, you can accept them in a loving way, in a joyful way. And that's something I talked about in Heartbreak and Love, trying to take in something bad externally and try to make it sweet inside of yourself. And yeah, so it doesn't, my point is with this is that it doesn't just have to be flat forever. You can try to, after you have a certain level of mastery, you can try to make it positive even, and you can try to see it as a beautiful thing that was good in certain ways, and try to see it in a certain light. And that's just dependent on the quality of you, the type of person or the type of human being you are. So I like that choice. I like, as much as I can, this is something okay, so I'm adding another thing. This is something that is pretty important to me, and it might apply to a lot of my videos. I want my life to be as much as I want my life to be about my choices as much as I can, as much as possible compared to what happens to me. Maybe you've kind of seen that as a theme on my channel. I've even thought about a video, just a whole nother video dedicated to and titled Taking Responsibility. Because there's such a significant benefit in that whenever you own something, whenever you own your side of it, what you can do about it, what you can control, what you can choose. Really, that's what I'm thinking about mainly. What you can choose, not what you can produce. Because of course, you know, what you can produce is dependent on so many other external factors. But why I like internal aspects so much, it's kind of creepy. It's getting dark. Might be someone in the bushes. No, I don't care. Bite my damn tongue. That's some animal or something. Yeah, so what I like so much about this internal aspect stuff and meditation and spirituality is, well, your internal side, that's 100% you in the long term. You know, it's no one else is there inside of you talking, or there's no external factors inside of you. Of course, you know, it's going to be hard to control some thoughts and emotions, and some things are just going to be terrible. But you can definitely see it in the way that your internal side, it's you. It's very much you, and it's about your choices. It's about how you choose to hold something, and that's why I love it so much. That's why I talk about it so much, and why it's so significant to me, because something that has always been pretty significant to me was my life being about my choices and not what happens to me. Because it just pisses me off. It just pissed me off whenever something would happen, and then other people or society or something else would tell me that this is how I have to be because this X, Y, or Z happened. Those sort of things always piss me off. I want freedom, and I want to choose. I want to choose how my life is going to be. This is I'm thinking about this yogic term, karma. And karma is, I think it's commonly misconceived, the definition. So I'm not going to get into that now, but the idea I'm thinking about is your life being your karma. And that meaning your life being about your choices, your memory. There's deer. I got to turn the camera around. Anyway, I'm about done talking. We can add the deer in at the end. I'm sure that's much better. It's a much better sight than me at the end. But yeah, I want my life to be about my choices as much as possible rather than what happens to me. And I think generally that's much better for people. It's better for their well-being. It's better for them not being a pussy. Better for their character in many ways. Is good. You can describe it however you want. I think one of my friends described it as classy, and I kind of like that word. But anyway, yeah, that's it. And now time for a bug in my eye and time for a deer. There it is, walking across. If you watched my bike ride video, I got really close. I am getting really close, and it's just not scared. What the hell? Let's see how close I can get. I'm gonna go slow. Oh my god, dude. This feels like a dog or something. Is it not gonna run away from me? What the fuck? This deer is just not scared of me. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, guys, this is not common, right? To be able to get this close to a deer. Let me try to... You know that guy that called, like, he had the deer named Canela? Brother Nature, yeah, that's what he was called. I'm gonna try to do that shit. I don't know if he's really gonna like this plant. But that plant is all the way over there. And there's none of those right here. So, oh shit. Okay, he's off. Let me see. Okay, let me try to. I got whatever he was eating. Let's see if he. No, he's scared, I think. What in the fuck? This deer's behavior is so trippy. This is making me laugh. Oh, he's kind of scared. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna leave him alone now. Oh, that's funny. Maybe just peace offering down there. All right, man. Bye, I guess. Okay, once again, I did think of another thing to say. I just thought of a nice way to describe it too that makes sense to me. I've been interested in tech lately, and I definitely see it as like you have to rewrite those files. You have to overwrite those files that you had saved one way. I'm thinking about, you know, the things you had emotional entanglement with. That is data. You have certain data for each of those in certain folders for each of those external factors. You got to rewrite those files. You got to resave those files with your new perception. So that's kind of a way I understand it as well.